I swear, always getting the angles on things is so annoying. But hey guys, welcome back to another video. And yeah, it hasn't been as consistent. But I mean, hey, at least we're not going on a month worth of taking a break off YouTube. No, we're still wanting to at least, grow, monetize, and also inspire people to just make their own YouTube channels and just talk about some real shit, to be honest. It sucks. I'm almost done with my tea. Anyways, now, I hope you guys have been doing well. I wish that you guys have been doing well because we are halfway through the year already, and that's already kind of terrifying to think, just for the fact that it just feels like the year started a month ago. But no, we're well 6 months into it, and it's just scary. I mean, time's progressing so quickly. Next year is already going to be 2024, and the reoccurring question to my life, at least, is always thinking, am I in the same place as I was last year? And that shit always scares me, just because it's a shitty feeling. It really is. But then I always think it's like, no, there's always something going on within each year of my life. And as I turn 21 this year, it's actually quite exciting, just because I could finally go out at night, get an old fashioned and, spark up some conversation with some people, because, you really do get to meet some interesting people when they're a bit intoxicated. I do believe that alcohol does bring out the truth out of people. But I mean, mind you, I just like the sentiment of it. To me, it's like alcohol takes away the literal stress and cares, or like the overthinking that goes up in my mind. But I don't necessarily need it to actually have a good conversation with someone. I can actually just engage into it, ask them about their lives, what made them what they are, and whatnot, etc. It's just what I'm good at. So that being said, it's like, fuck, what was I talking about? See, I have no sense of direction when it comes to these things. And mind you that, this is gonna be more of like a little podcast, just to like show you guys how I'm doing, because it has been at least 2 to 3 weeks that I've actually shown you an update on what's been going on with myself. I do appreciate those of you that actually did view last video, just because it was only 2-3 minutes long, and it was just to update you guys that, hey, yeah, I'm still posting, and I don't want to let my viewers at least go just yet. But no, we're still okay. The main reasoning, actually, I guess I'm gonna start with this. The main reasoning as to why I actually wanted to finally make a video, and I might start making videos more consistently, perhaps like 2 to 3 days in between instead of like a week or two, is just because I did quit my job as a behavioral therapist, and I'm happy and sad about it, just because it did pay well. But the thing is, I wasn't getting all the hours that I wanted to necessarily, and just for a 2-hour session or a 3-hour session with one of my patients, and I had to drive nearly 30 minutes to get to each of their houses, it was too much on my car, and then almost a lot of gas. And granted, as I said, like, the pay was really good. I was working basically less hours and getting a lot of money compared to a job that I used to have that was barely like 18, 19, and that was full-time, and that one took a mental toll on me. I mean, those were during my heavy suicidal days. But now it's just like, I feel good. Working with children that have those special needs really did open my eyes a bit to the fact that there's parents out there that sometimes don't even ask to have children, but are still gifted with them. And being a parent is very hard. I've noticed that. But it's also very rewarding in the sense that you get to implement your own morals onto a child, and sometimes they may be good or sometimes they may be bad. But what I saw with at least the parents that I saw is a bit of both. I can't necessarily speak upon my clients at least 2 years after I have met them, so we're gonna have to wait for that. But I could say, like, it gave me new perspective as to what humans have to go through sometimes when they're in their 30s or in their 40s. And like, that's very intriguing to me, because I don't even see myself going past 25 or 30. Like, keep in mind, it's partly the suicidal mentality, but it's also the fact that, like, do I really want to live in a world that for that long? Like, I'd rather ice myself to sleep and then wake up in what, 2060, 2070. I know it's fantasy and whatnot to even be talking about that, but it's like I don't like the time era that I'm in, so I'm like, let me just time skip to another one. Let everyone I know right now die. Let me go into the future and see if I can like it there. That's just like a little fantasy of mine that I always have. But as of right now, thankfully, having quit that job has finally, and I'm literally saying this, bought me a little piece of liberty and peace. Like right now I would be at work and it feels good just because it's a Monday afternoon. It's about to be evening, and it's just very refreshing, honestly, because I didn't feel like I was in the rat race, but it just sucked having to have that type of job, because not gonna lie, a part of me does miss conversating with other people my age or even older. I really do enjoy doing that. But also for the sense that like dealing with children every day it's harder than it looks. And while looking into the job itself, like I noticed that I was the only male in that type of service, you could say. And I even felt bad for having that job because I saw that a bunch of other females had a bachelor's degree and I didn't. I'm still trying to work on mine, and I'm taking it very slowly, mind you, just because I'm a firm believer on that education, or at least more high advanced education, should be for free. Granted, some of you may say, oh, you should have just gotten a scholarship or some type of grant. And I'm like, look, man, I could do that, but perhaps getting what's it called? A scholarship for what? $300, $500, or even $1,000. It's not going to help for almost a six-figure type of not million. It's not going to help for a six-figure debt in student loans. That's not going to really help at all. So that's why I was always against, those types of scholarships. And then as for full ride scholarships, and I know I'm getting into a conversation in which is completely different as to what I was talking about, but mind you, full ride scholarships, you have to be very gifted at something. And I'll admit to myself, I am your basic Hispanic that isn't necessarily good in societal terms, so that I don't necessarily engage in what society likes. I engage in what just people that are, that have spirit, that have some type of genuine personality. I'm meant for those type of people. So if someone wants to talk to me, like, if there was some type of degree in that, oh hell yeah, I would have pursued it. And most of you might say it's like, oh, there's communications. Guess what? I am majoring in communications. But it just sucks though, because having to go through a process of 3-4 years of college, and majority of the time feeling like shit just to have to be tied to that type of role, it sucks. And for someone that's barely 20 going into their early adulthood life, and I'll be honest, I still feel like a child, it's just hard. And I don't see why it's expected of young people like myself to have to go through an education process like that, unless you're incredibly gifted or just have that natural talent of genuinely liking to be educated, or to just follow some type of curriculum, or very oriented. Then I agree, like that is for you. And I don't necessarily want to speak bad upon education or advanced education, because I myself am in it, but I truly believe that it's not meant for young people. It's more meant for people that actually do have money, people that have their life together and actually have that time to go out and make a living for themselves. That's what I believe it's for. And I want to do that myself. By the time I'm 25 or 26, if I do end up living by then, it's like I'm gonna have the financial need to actually pay for that education. But as of right now, it's like I'm just trying to figure out what I can do. I'm trying to do the best I can do while I'm here. And to be honest, I feel as if that's just talking to you guys. And I'm very confident now in that sense, where talking is my own gift, something that wasn't given to me by school, by having some type of association with people. It's like, no, I've noticed that throughout my 20 years of living, I've always been the person to want to initiate things, or to at least want to talk to people, to dive into their own personal lives and get to know them, make them feel as if they are validated, that they aren't necessarily stuck to their own minds, or that, and that they can't speak to someone. Like, that's what I am here for on this world. That's what I like to believe. And my firm proof of that is, like, it's been made very clear to me now. Most of you may try to at least undermine this, or be like, no, it's just some random person. And granted, my type of experience, my type of gift is meant to actually be shared with random people. And I feel as if, my gift is, it's more organic, it's more spontaneous. And I truly do believe that in the most spontaneous of moments, you'll make the most beautiful moments of your life. I've met a lot of people through that way, and I've actually met the current person that I'm dating right now. I've met her at a Starbucks, and we were both working at a Starbucks, and it was for a simple 30 minutes that we got to meet each other and have impacted both of our lives so tremendously. I mean, we've known each other for 2 years, and it was a really awful start, and I feel as if right now we are at the strongest we've ever been. But it's shown me to get rid of that immature, toxic side that I have, and it's shown me to also just self-regulate myself as well, and to become more of a people person. So, going on to what I really want to say, actually, I was at a Denny's, and it was about 2-3 in the morning, and I was just drinking a coffee, and I was done making a video. It was actually one of the videos that I made. Yeah, it's currently posted on my channel right now. But there was this old woman. She was Korean. She actually was telling me her whole background. We spent about, I think, an hour or two talking about each other's lives. And mind you, no attraction, no sexual attraction. There was nothing. It was just a genuine old soul talking to another soul, and that was the beauty of it. And my proof of that is that it was midnight, and I truly believe anything that occurs at midnight with good intention is something good. I mean, there's just another ambience to that type of time of the day where you can truly feel happy, you can feel at peace, and you can just talk to people. And that's precisely what I go to Denny's for, actually, is to actually, grab a cup of coffee and just see anyone that wants to spark up any type of conversation with me. I love that. And I'm telling you, I really do want to make that my job someday, or at least, career for myself. But going back to it, so I was talking to this woman, and immediately the first thing she says to me is help me, or can you listen to me? I'm about to kill myself in 2 days. And I'm like, okay, well, have a seat. Let's just see what we can talk about. And she tells me about her whole story, and I don't think she'll mind me actually talking about her story with you guys on YouTube, because if she was willing to talk to me, someone that was completely random to her own life, then I feel as if she'll be okay with me sharing this. And I actually do have her phone number, and I've been wanting to call her just to see if she's still alive. And I told her to go to a suicide hotline and whatever, and she said that it hasn't helped. Policemen have not even really done anything for the situation that she's in, that I'm about to go into. So I just wanted to give that disclosure before I start talking about this, because I know suicide is a very, very touchy subject, and as someone that's actually have gone through that type of mentality as to where there's no value in living, I'm not no therapist, but I do feel as if, as a therapist needs the suicidal person to actually even have that job to begin with. So I do feel as if I have a bit of credibility to that, but I'm not going to necessarily advise you to take this little story that I'm about to tell you to the point where oh, this can happen to me. I just want you guys to listen to it, take my perspective and her perspective, and just apply it to your own life. But I don't necessarily want you to do this same curriculum that this woman put herself into. I just want to give that fair warning, at least. But that being said, let's go into it. So she has no spouse, and she was about 50 or 60 years old. And She lives in an apartment with an African American man, about the age 40, and he's about like what she said he was about 6'3", and the poor elderly Asian woman, she was getting physically abused, and I'm like, well, why do you keep doing that? Like, why? Like, what is this man to you to allow yourself to get hit? And she said it was someone off Craigslist to interact with. Now, if you're going on Craigslist to just talk to people, I do feel as if that's very sketchy, just because you never know who you could encounter on there. So I'm like, okay, that was already a bad start, and that's already the reason why you can't get this 40-year-old man to get out of your house. And mind you, this man has money. He is perhaps just using this woman for sex, but to me, it's already sad. Like, the woman doesn't want nothing associated to this man, and this man is just over here beating her and using all her resources and everything, and it's quite sad. And she's already like, this woman has already been pushed to the corner of, authorities cannot help, going to court issued, any court issued dates is like already too much of a process to go through. And again, suicide hotline hasn't done much. So she told me that, yeah, she wanted to take a road trip to the Golden Gate Bridge and just kill herself there. And to my thought, I'm just like, wow, okay, so hold up, this is my first time like actually encountering someone that organically just wanted to talk to me. Secondly, this was also the first person that is actually suicidal. And I'm like, wow, like, from a suicidal person to another, it felt like I was at home, just because, I never want to validate my own suicidal thoughts, but at the same time, you always have people that are always just telling you, it's like, no, you're a dumbass, like, value your own life or do something with your life. It's like easier said than done, you like, majority of those things you have to do yourself, and it takes the appliance to even want to do those things. And I'm not gonna lie, at night I still even think to myself, it's like, why am I alive? Like, it's just hard in like such a vast universe. It's like I'm blessed that I was chosen to live this life, but at the same time, it's like, why? Like, can't I just end it here and see if I will transfer my spirit and body, or not body, but just spirit, to another universe to see if I could perhaps live a better life there. Most of you may call that escapism. Perhaps it may be it. But going back to it, it was just very refreshing to know that someone had that same perspective as me. And it just made me want to help this person, because, I'm still going through it. I'm still young, but to see this person that was desperately in despair, to have no hope as to want to living, and to actually proclaim already as to when she wants to die, that was very set in stone for me. So to hear that, I was like, let me help you. Let me help you with my naive, optimistic advice. It was also a bit pessimistic, I won't lie. And I told her too, like, this is my advice. This is my simple talk as well. Like, and keep in mind, when I'm talking to someone, I don't necessarily want to seem as if I am higher than them. I want to speak to them at an equal standing. Like, this is why I don't even make much of an effort to actually try to look good, because I want people to resonate with my words. I want them to at least know that I'm not some nice-ass looking guy that, gets a bunch of attention and is only going to be nitpicky with whom he chooses to be with. That's actually how my partner is. Like, most people are intimidated by her looks, and I'm like, babe, you need to actually step down your narcissistic personality and actually view the people that also have beautiful spirits. Because I truly believe that, at least for us males, there's some gorgeous ass women that perhaps have nice breasts or have nice buttocks, but it's like, you can have such a nice body and yet have such an ugly personality. And that's exactly how I encountered my partner, actually. Like, she was beautiful, had a bunch of followers on Instagram, a bunch of guys DMing her and everything, and I'm like, oh shit, she probably has a high body count. Thankfully to me, it was only one for her, and then I was still a virgin, so I was really thankful about that. And knowing that, it's like, if people were to just humble themselves and not give into the surface look, I feel as if society would become a lot more interactive with just having people talk to each other. So I know that was a bit of a sidetrack, but that's the reason as to why I don't make much of an effort to actually try to look good. Even though I would like to, I just feel as if some people do find it intimidating or narcissistic to actually try to look good. But in certain occasions I will, don't worry. So if we ever have a special video, I will try to look all dolled up for you guys. But going back to it, I kid you not, it was just two genuine souls. And it was kind of sweet already enough that she was telling me like, oh, you look very sweet, like you should not be here alone at a Denny's. And I'm like, no, you know what, I prefer finding myself in solitude just to see if I can find any of these type of organic moments with you, with the woman I was talking to. And you know, finally getting into the meat of it, I was telling her, it's like, look, both you and I have the capacity to kill ourselves. You know, there's been several nights where I've held the knife to my throat or to my wrist, or even thrown myself just off a bridge. Like, I've had those opportunities. I've done those instances as to where I could have done it. But if I haven't done it, then it's because there's some just greater power out there that's allowing me to have that will to continue living. And mind you, when I always speak about personal lives, I don't want to get into like any type of religion or any type of beliefs, perhaps paganism, because paganism isn't necessarily a religion. It's more of just a way of life, a way of life in which you actually see yourself just living day to day. Because let's be honest, a lot of us adults have anxiety, and we always have the anxiousness of knowing what are we going to do next. So that's scary, and I completely understand why people hinge onto a religion or some type of belief, but to me it's like, I coincidentally found paganism in the sense where I always try to dictate my life to where I do certain things that I'll be happy with, for example, making a video. And I've had someone bring this up to my attention. It's like, oh, you're a pagan. I'm like, am I really a pagan? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Mind you, I'm only 20 years old. I still have a very narrow mindset as to what I may be or what I am. But going back to it, like, I do believe that there is a higher power, you know, surrounding us all. Like, at least there's some type of energy within us all. There's energies in rocks, and holding rocks does help us, or not necessarily help us, but like it does send vibrations. That's why, you know, people my age are always saying, it's like, oh, I like your vibe. It's like, it's because of that energy. It's because of that vibration of emotion that you're giving to someone. And I kid you not, sometimes you can feel someone's energy, or you can feel that, like, sometimes ominous type of vibe, or, you know, like lust or happiness or some type of sadness. Like, you can feel that from someone. That's why, like, people say, like, I don't like your vibe. And with that, I'm trying to say, like, there is a higher power that controls all of that. And my energy back then was very sadistic, suicidal, very self-doubting, and I kid you not, it was terrible. And I sensed that in this woman. So and I told her, so it's like, if you haven't killed yourself, and if you're coming to me to actually tell me that you're going to kill yourself, then that means there's a part of you that doesn't want to kill yourself. And she stood dumbfounded, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that could only be it. If I haven't killed myself, it's because I don't necessarily see value in my life. It's just, there's a fighting part of myself that feels as if that I can help people just like I did with that woman. And my proof to her still being alive is that I actually went to Denny's about like 2-3 nights ago, and I'm gonna try going tonight as well. She asked for me, like, I was talking to the same waiter, and she said, oh yeah, she was trying to look for you, and she was kind of sad that you didn't call her. I'm like, well, I did try calling her. Mind you, I did a *67 because I wasn't too comfortable with this woman contacting me yet because of her situation with that man. But, you know, as a, like, you know, if you *67 someone, you can have that private caller identity, so that way they won't call you back. But yeah, I called her and they didn't answer, so I thought she actually did die. Thankfully she didn't, and I was quite relieved, to be honest, because the way that conversation concluded was with, have a nice night, if you do end up living, I hope to see you soon. And it was just so sweet because this woman she was offering me money. She was like, let me give you my money before I die, or let me do something. And I'm like, no, look, honestly, as much as I am looking for a job right now, because I just quit my other job, like I'm actually still trying to look for one right now. I just finished looking for some jobs. As much as I am wanting money, I can't take it from a soul that's at a unelevated type of phase. I would only accept it if they're in a higher place and they actually do feel good about themselves. So I didn't accept any money, and neither do I really want to just yet. And she was like, yeah, look, I'll even let you, like, she has a lot of luxury items, and I'm like, look, I'm good. I honestly just appreciate this moment that we're having. If both you and I haven't killed ourselves yet, having that power to kill ourselves, then let's just keep living for now. You know, if we are to ever die, let it be by some type of naturalistic event that will kill us, or someone else that'll kill us, so long as we end up not doing it ourselves. So that way we don't hold that guilt for ourselves and forever saying, it's like, should I have let myself live? Like, I feel as if people like myself and her truly do need to find our own value in our lives. Like, we can't have people validate that for ourselves, or we can't have people surrounding us telling us it's going to be okay. Like, no, we actually need to disengage sometimes to actually find ourselves. And that's just the beauty of our type of people. And I'm not necessarily sure what type of people that I am in or associated to, but I do feel as if there is something that is unique about my type of people. And that's what this channel is about, to actually draw in those people. Oh my God, I'm so fucking happy. Like, I feel as if I'm finally defining what this channel is going to be about. So it's going to be a very learning process as to how I progress with this channel, honestly, because it's all these experiences that allow me to just share with you guys on this platform. It's very nice. And I really do appreciate those of you that have still been watching. Thank you so much. And if I ever do find this person again, let's see if I can just conduct a little interview with her and see what her personal issues are and what I can do to start creating a community that endorses more talking with just anyone. It's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing. Alright guys, well, that was it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.